Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today I have with me, this has been a year and a half to make this happen.
At least a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
It's 2 years ago when we met, and we've been working on this for forever. And for the longest time, I thought you were just BSing me.
Who wouldn't want to be on your show?
That's what I want to know. The list of people that are on the show or have not wanted to be on the show is short.
Okay.
All right.
So you've been doing a pretty good job of clearing out the backlog.
You got it, man.
Okay.
So today I have with me Rick Ector from Legally Armed in Detroit. Rick, thank you so much for being on the show.
Man, thank you for having me. After all this time we've talked about, man, it feels like I finally made it. I finally have arrived. I'm riding shotgun with Charlie.
Dude, too much fun, man. You don't have to lay it on thick, but I appreciate it.
I'm telling you how I feel, man. I'm like, hey, I finally arrived. He's finally cleared his schedule. We're finally in the same town together, right? In a car.
In a car.
What kind of car is this?
Rental.
A Kia?
A rental.
Yeah, a Kia. A Kia Soul. Right. We're in a Soul with Charlie. That might even be a better topic.
Oh man. Here we go. Now I got to change all my stuff.
Just for one episode, it'd be like a special.
Absolutely. All right, so we are in we're in Chicago. We're in the Chicagoland area at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in 2018.
Right.
And how long have you been coming to the GRPC?
You know, I first started coming to the GRPC like way back in 2006, the year that they were at Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, right outside of Cincinnati. And it's really interesting how I heard about that. I was following this guy I didn't know at the time. His name was Black Man with a Gun, Ken Blanchard. And he was making a big deal out of coming to the GRPC, and he was hyping it up. And he was saying what it's all about the people and the conversations and the topics. And I took it on faith, and I jumped in a car and went down there, man, and I'm glad that I did. And, since then it's been hit or miss. Yeah. But this has been like the third, I think this is like the third
one in a row.
GRPC I've made in a row here in 2018. So I'm on a good track record.
Cool. A
good streak right now of being here. So
you got to keep it going, man. I love it. These things are great. It really feels like, I hate saying old folks week, but old home week, I think is the right word.
Right.
Anyway, so let's talk about you. How did you get into gun stuff? You have an interesting story. Like, you were not a non-gun guy, and then you became a gun guy, and then you took it up a notch a bit.
Right. At one point in time, I didn't own a gun at all, but I then bought a gun when me and my, wife at the time, we bought a house, man, and, it's one of those rites of passage. You gotta own a shotgun, for the simple fact that it might be some weird bumps in the night or some strange person at 3 o'clock in the morning is knocking on your front door. You want to be able to have a shotgun in your house for whatever may occur until the police can get there. But a couple of years after that, it was, I was on my own property, man, and I got robbed in my own driveway, man.
That is nuts.
I was coming home from work, and I was in the driveway. I pulled up, to where the garage was. Mm-hmm. And you know what? To my credit or discredit, a song came on the radio. and it was Parliament Funkadelics, Knee Deep, right? And I'm listening to, you laughing, I'm telling you.
I love Parliament Funkadelic.
I was listening to Knee Deep, and I got all nostalgic, and I'm listening to the music and bopping my head.
Nice.
And then when the song was over, I got out of the car, and I locked up the car, and I was pulling down the garage door, and lo and behold, two young rascallions with guns announced a robbery and proceeded to rob me in my own backyard. And,
that's crazy.
And while this thing is happening, I'm like, man, there should be like some type of rule where you can't get robbed, or just honor amongst thieves. You don't rob people in their own driveway.
Right.
So, you know, I blame those guys totally because they're criminals, but you know, I should have had a little more hustle about myself, you know, after dark in Detroit, you know, in the neighborhood. But the biggest takeaway was I was going to investigate in earnest this whole, you know, buying a gun, getting a concealed carry permit, and carrying a gun every day, and becoming, you know, adopting that lifestyle. And you know what? It's really funny. But nowadays, man, I can tell you, I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that I got robbed, because I wasn't on the right track. I wasn't on the right path. I was walking around, you know, without a firearm, without any training, without a means of personal protection. And something worse could have happened down the road. And I look at all the things I've been able to do since then with empowering other people with taking on a more active role in their personal protection. So
yeah, absolutely.
I took a bad thing and I made a good thing out of it.
That's great. I noticed this. I wasn't a gun guy for a long time. When I got to the point where I could start to carry a gun, that's when I started to pay attention to my surroundings more. And not that I lived, you know, oblivious and conditioned white. I just didn't pay much attention to your surroundings, you know. And now that you start to carry a gun on you, or knives or whatever, you know, death tools, you start to pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah, man. I pretty much carry everywhere. At least that I'm legally able to
legally carry. Yeah.
You know, there's some places where you're not supposed to carry, right? Like depending on, you know, your employer, and depending on whether he's been eavesdropping on your banter with your coworker.
Right.
Whether
if it comes up at the office.
Right. It comes up at the office, and you're suddenly into guns. You know, he might
ask a question.
Pull you over to the side and ask you discreetly a question or two. Are you know, bringing guns to work and that kind of thing? And of course the correct answer is, oh no, I would never bring a gun to work. That would violate company policy.
Absolutely.
Oh man, funny.
Totally. Now, real quick, we're trying to find a coffee place, and we got to do something. This camera stopped working, so I'm gonna fix that. But
well, the other two still work, right?
The other two are still working. Yeah. Let me ask you this: the laws in Michigan. So since you got a gun, and then you became a gun guy, and it was a whole thing. You got an instructor business. You started legally armed in Detroit, which is the coolest name of a company.
Yeah, I want you to be legally armed in Detroit. Laid. I want you to get laid.
Everybody wants that. Let's face it.
You know, and I even have, you know, the laid T-shirts, man. And
check this out, right?
Really cool. I mean, you know what? I even have them available for sale. All types of colors.
Now, all types of colors. You've every May. This is one of the cool things that you do. So, you went for. All right, let's just keep going here. So, you got your gun license. You got robbed. Became a gun guy. And you've really taken it to the limit. Like, you went from not being a gun guy to you're now an NRA training counselor. You're training other trainers.
Yeah, man, I'm a trainer of the trainer. You know, I've trained other law-abiding citizens who have a desire to take on a more active role in their personal protection and become a person who teaches the personal protection class, so that they can get their carry permits, you know, in the state of Michigan. So it's been totally a full circle, you know, experience that I've had. You know, crime victim to concealed carrier to firearms instructor to training counselor. So
that's awesome. That's way cool.
Gun rights advocate.
No, yeah.
Guest of Riding with Charlie. I mean, I've reached the pinnacle of success right now.
Right.
I'm on the Riding with Charlie show.
Right, which I got.
It's great.
It's good stuff, man. So every May, you do something that has grown and grown and grown.
Oh yes.
Let's talk about that.
I do a personal protection day for women. There was one day, it was 7 years ago, as this previous May, I saw a story on the local media, on the local news back home in Detroit. This woman's body had been found, literally discarded in the street.
Wow.
This woman was violated, and then, to add insult to injury, someone decided to kill her. So, and that just bothered me, man. And it just stayed with me, and I was thinking, you know what? Someone needs to do something about protecting and empowering women. Somebody.
Yeah.
And I just thinking, and then finally I remember something that my buddy Ken Blanchard told me. He was like, man, you are somebody. I said, yeah.
You said, damn right I'm somebody.
Yeah, right, I am. So I decided, I would take that advice in earnest. I don't know if he knew that I was planning on doing, the women's, event as a consequence of that, but I took what he said and I ran with it. And the first year, I put out a call to social media for women who had a desire to take on a more active role in their personal protection. And I had 50 women show up. And for those 50 women that showed up, I had the guns, I had the ammunition, I had the range time.
Yeah.
I had everything covered. They had access to the safety equipment, the eyes, the ears.
Cool. I
had vetted instructors that I knew and vouched for, that I knew would do a good job and safe job of training them.
Yeah.
And we had 50 women. And
that's awesome.
Everyone was telling me the same thing you said, awesome. But see, I went into this thing that I was going to
You wanted to be huge.
I wanted to be huge right away. And I wanted to do hundreds on that first event, right?
Right.
And everything happens for a reason, in retrospect, I'm glad I didn't have thousands.
Yeah, then it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have worked, and I wouldn't have learned all the lessons along the way, but, I grew it organically. We went from 50 to 100 the following year.
Right.
From 100 to 200, 300, 400. I think we skipped 5 and went straight to 6.
Boom.
And then now this past, event in May, we went to 700. So
that's awesome.
Right now, these last couple of months, I've been really thinking really hard about what type of marketing and social media tactics I can employ to see how high I can grow this thing by next, May. Do I want to go for 800, 900, or just jump straight to 1,000? What do I need to do to make that happen?
Right.
In terms of getting the word out and communicating what we're doing and what the aims, goals, and purposes of the event, and getting people, enough advance notice and getting them there, man. And,
cool. I gotta say, so we're in the Chicagoland area, where I think we're in Des Plaines. This is how we know we're not in Massachusetts. We've been driving for 15 minutes, and we finally just found a Dunkin' Donuts.
Man, I'm seeing it, and I'm like, yes.
I'm driving. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get a coffee. There's no drive-in places. I'm like, oh my God.
What's a Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts. It's got a drive-in. So, is it let me ask you this. I'm not necessarily an organized guy.
What do you mean?
Getting instructors, ammo, ears, guns.
Man, let me tell you, look.
How do you organize all that?
You strike me as organized. You were able to get a car. You got cameras.
I borrowed the car.
You got a guest.
I borrowed the car.
You got a location. Our schedules meshed. The scheduling piece is the hardest part. You got some skills in organizing.
I borrowed the car. The cameras are stolen, and I almost had to kidnap you. So I don't know how organized that is.
Oh, man, you made it happen, right?
All right, let's get a coffee. How do you like your coffees?
Man, I want a medium coffee.
Yeah?
2 creams, 3 sugars.
2 creams and 3 sugars.
Yes.
All right, we can do that. This is always the best part.
What?
Ordering
Oh,
coffee.
wait. You normally order coffee every episode?
No, not every episode. I've done
But
it
there's
twice.
So this is the third time?
This is the third time.
Okay, I'm on one of those.
Only if they answer.
But this is the only time in Chicago
Yes.
that you ordered coffee.
Yes.
Well, this is...
Not
Morning,
yet.
Opium?
Not
Oh.
yet. Hi, can I get a medium coffee with 2 creams and 3 sugars?
All right.
And a black coffee with 3 sugars?
Also medium?
Yes.
Anything else?
That's it.
Your turn. Thank you.
Oh, that's it.
All right. The coffee here for 2 coffees is going to be the same price as 1 coffee back at the hotel.
Oh, man, everything's inflated there. It was like crazy.
Ridiculous.
But, you know, they're in business, man. They're in the
They're-
hospitality. The convenience business.
Yeah.
You don't want to go...
convenience, all right. Hi. There you
You're
go.
driving out in a car
Yes, please.
in the Chicago
It's a tax
area,
write-off.
get lost, get carjacked. I mean, you're actually saving money.
I know. I got to get gas. It says that one of the tires needs some air.
Man,
Let
you're
the good times
gonna
roll.
return this
Good thing
car
it's
to
a
her the
rental.
same way she gave it to you.
Don't tell her.
Right, like
doesn't-
low on air and in need
yes.
of gas.
I know. Don't tell her, man. I know, right? Really?
You're gonna edit this part out of the video, right?
No, I'm leaving it in.
Oh, she
leaving it
probably won't watch it because she's not riding with
She's-
Charlie.
You know what? Amanda's got a nationally syndicated radio show. She's not watching my stuff.
Don't hate, man.
Awesome.
She watches. I
All
bet.
right, which one's which? Check that one out. Oh, thank you.
Were they both the same?
No, there was one that has cream and one doesn't.
And she didn't tell us which one has cream?
She did not.
I
She's
can
gotta
look
be
at
mine.
it and tell which one has cream. Oh, this
All
looks
right.
black, I think.
There we go. That would be mine.
Let's see. Yeah, this has cream.
All right, I'm gonna put mine in the front, and we're gonna put yours in the back. I get the choice because I'm the driver.
Oh, because you're the driver.
Yeah,
Right.
Because it's my show.
Right.
Oh.
There's a coffee policy I needed to be aware of.
No, it's for me, honestly.
It should have
it's-
been in the fine print of the disclaimer
Right.
I had to sign and
Right,
the blood
the
oath
NDA.
that I had to swear that I was going to help promote the show after I was in it. Right?
Oh man, right. My deal is this, and I do this with my kids. When I'm driving, my
Uh-huh.
coffee goes in the front. I'm driving. If my kids are driving, I'll put my coffee in the back.
Okay, there's a certain protocol.
Yeah, there is. The
Are there
driver-
any other special rules about
No.
riding with Charlie I need to be privy to?
No,
I'm just saying.
never, nothing.
Like a manual? Is there
No.
like a study guide?
There's no study guide.
Okay.
Study guide is no study.
Oh yeah, this is good. Good
Awesome.
stuff. Hot coffee, cream, sugar.
Yes. All right.
All we have to do is make sure we don't get carjacked.
I know. Bad guys aren't up on Sunday mornings, are they? Now, one thing that's never happened is I've not been pulled over.
Really?
Yeah.
This would be a pretty weird thing to have to explain.
It w-
You're riding around in a car
Right, with a bunch of cameras. What are you
with
doing?
a bunch of
Nothing.
cameras around.
I did have a fun moment with Rob and Amanda. I interviewed them. Now, when I was originally going to interview you before you had your health issues,
Right.
I interviewed them in the Cleveland area,
Okay.
and we were on the highway, and we pulled over to change some of the batteries, and a cop pulled over. We were on Interstate 80 somewhere in Ohio, and a cop pulled over and stopped and just kind of watched us. He was like,
He
looking
actually
for
stopped.
scooters. Yeah, he stopped and
How far behind you was he?
we were pulled over on the side. He wasn't that far. Like, you could still see him in the camera.
Okay.
Right? You could see his car sitting there, and then we took off.
You could like see his facial expression.
You could see his face now.
So he was close,
He was close. You could see his car.
and he never got out.
Didn't get out.
Never
Didn't get
walked
out.
over to you.
Didn't come over.
Mosey on over
Nothing.
and take a gander
Nothing.
and figure that
And-
he could be of assistance.
There was nothing.
It doesn't sound like he was a really helpful law enforcement
Right.
officer,
No. This
right?
this would be better, right? If he says if he comes over and says, "Is there anything in the car you want to know about?" He said, "Listen, there's some things you don't know about, and some things you probably do not want to know about."
Or hey, I see you out here on the side of the road. I mean,
You guys need some
you look like. First, do you need any assistance? First,
No, we're
how may I be of any help? What jurisdiction was this?
This is Ohio, middle of nowhere in Ohio.
Oh yeah, you don't want to call out the
No.
agency in
No.
Ohio.
No.
But that's okay.
Well, the funny thing is, in Ohio, if you have a gun on you, you have to tell, and you're pulled over, you have to tell the police.
Well, that's the rule. That's the law in Michigan. You got to tell them too.
Yeah.
And then when I tell people that when I'm out, at different conferences talking about it, they say, well, in our state, we don't have to. And I'm like, okay, well, in Michigan,
you do.
We're required to inform, or you might suffer some consequences.
In Massachusetts, we have the don't ask, don't tell.
Okay.
And my line that I tell people is, if you have to tell the cops, the line is, officer, I have a license to carry, and I am currently doing so. How would you like me to proceed?
Okay.
Because I say that tells them that you're a good guy or a good gal with a cop, you've got a gun on you, and nobody wants to get shot.
I don't know if that's what all that tells, man. I mean, I've always wondered why in the world did they even put that in the statute. I mean,
that you have to tell them?
Well, think about what if they pulled me over and I didn't have a concealed carry permit?
Well, see, now this is, I'm one of these guys, I do call the gun license a good guy card.
So, are you telling me that the good guy that pulls you over is like, oh, you got a concealed carry permit? And statistically, you guys are more honest and trustworthy than us law enforcement officers are. So I'm going to totally drop my guard, and I'm going to be a total bud and not write you a ticket for that infraction I pulled you over for, or these cameras you have that really got my attention. Right. And oh, by the way, am I going to be on your show too?
Right. Yes, you are.
Was that trooper? Was he actually on there?
No, he wasn't. He just sat in his car.
You edited him out?
You could only see him from one camera because we were pulled over on the shoulder, and he was in the Jersey barriers between the cars, between the east and westbound lanes.
So you edited.
Hey, is this where we turn? Is this the road? See, now we get that moment where we get lost.
Nah, man. So every time you go riding with Charlie, is there the obligatory, oh my God, we're lost, we're in the wrong neighborhood?
No, it's not on purpose.
Right, and we somehow drive into like some gang stronghold? Right?
No.
No? Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, we don't do that. It's not on purpose. I did interview Anthony Colangelo one time.
Oh, how did that go?
It was great. He's got a rough exterior, but I think he's a really cool guy. And he said if it didn't go well, he's going to take me into Newark and leave me there.
I guess that was
the answer.
A threat of some sort. I mean, I've been through New Jersey. Through gas station stop,
right,
and continued on.
Right.
My middle daughter graduated from high school and had some thing in New York she attended because she won an award.
Cool. And
coming back, we came the way that you go through New Jersey to get back. Anyway.
Yeah.
Only time ever in New Jersey. And you know what? I couldn't have my gun on me. You know what? I hate New Jersey.
I carried a tactical pen so I could write my way out of a ticket.
Oh man, I hate New Jersey. I mean,
I hear you.
Y'all hate your gun laws. It's not that I hate the people. I hate your gun laws. Your gun laws suck in New Jersey.
Yeah, they do. They do. All right, so we were talking about this before we got the coffee. In order to have a gun in Detroit, you have to have a permit. You don't have to have a permit.
To what? To be a gun owner?
Yeah, just to purchase something.
Just to purchase a handgun?
Yeah.
No, you need to. If you don't have a permit to carry a CPL concealed pistol license in the state of Michigan, if you want to buy a handgun, you got to. We have these odd, quaint laws on the books, and one of them is that you have to get a handgun purchase permit.
Okay.
From your local law enforcement agency. And for some people, that became a little impractical.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was they amended the statute a few years ago, and they said, well, what you can do is go to any FFL, Federal Firearms Licensee. Pull into that gas station.
That gas station?
Yeah.
You want to get gas now?
Well, yeah.
Why pushing it?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you got to get gas. Why not now, right? And so
it's only $2.99, so let's do it.
Right.
Where's the gas tank?
I don't know.
It's on my side.
And so, you can just go to a gun shop that you're going to buy a gun, and they'll run your background check there. And assuming you don't have any interesting, things on your public, on your record.
Right.
They can just approve you for purchasing, and you just walk in and walk right out. Of
Oh,
course, you
cool.
might pay some money.
Right.
And that long application, man. How many pages is that application? Oh man, it's like forever.
Just writing a book.
And then you have to fill it out correctly, right?
You would hope so.
Right. What's funny? I went with my mother, and she was buying a gun. This was about a year or two ago.
That's awesome.
And they were trying to give her this app on this tablet to fill out, and she's not very, adept at using
not tech
technology.
savvy.
She's not tech savvy. She's that generation,
Right.
Technology, kind of forgot. So, and then she was looking at me, because she brought me for moral support, and my son is this
He knows
gun
what he's
guy,
doing.
right?
Right.
And she thought I wasn't being of help. I was like, look, I can't help you with this. It's like,
Right.
they might think that you're trying to buy it for me.
you.
And she's like, well, why would they think that I need to buy a gun for you if you're this firearms instructor already and already have guns? And that. I was like, you're making perfect sense.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
That's a good question, Mark. But you need to fill this out.
But yeah, and so I said, do you have this application on paper?
Oh my
the form?
God. Yeah.
What is it called? The DD what?
No, that's for the military. The DD.
Well, what's the form that you have to fill out? That's a name for the background check. So
Oh, the 4473.
the 4473, right? Alphabet soup, acronym soup, right? And so she filled it out on paper in an ink pen. And I was like, and you got to be careful, fill it out honestly and correct.
Right.
And I can't help you with it.
I tell everyone, there's one yes, the rest of them are no's. But you got to figure out which one's which.
And then, the way they ask the questions, you can't just answer them all yes or answer them all no. I mean, you have to see which one is the one that's the one you write no for, right?
If it's yes, if it's no.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we're going to take an uno momento break so we can get some gas, and we're going to pick this up. All right, so we just got some gas, and we're heading back to the gun rights policy.
We got some
conference.
coffee, too.
We got some coffee.
Oh, we already have that on tape.
We do. Thanks for paying attention, man.
Right.
I got a fast-paced show, Rick. Come on.
I know, I got to keep up.
brother.
It is
Keep up,
morning.
keep
What
up.
is it, 8:19 Central Time?
Yeah. You're in the Central Time, aren't you?
No, I'm in Eastern. It's
you're
like
Eastern.
actually 9:19 a.m. back home.
It's just no, man. This is my attitude about it. I'm from the East Coast. It's just it's not that big of a deal.
Oh man, it's great when you're like running low on time. You didn't leave out as early as you planned to, and you're like, oh my God, are we gonna get there on time? Right? Are we gonna miss anything? And we missed like the opening speech,
Oh yeah.
opening ceremony, but we made it, man.
We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
I was on a panel discussion with a couple of other gun rights advocates in different areas.
All right, so I asked a couple of other people. I know we only have a few minutes until we're back to the hotel. What's your take on this? So this is something that comes up. The outreach or the diversity panel is all black people. The better half is all women. There's not enough women. There's not enough black people. There's not enough other people. How do like if we had a diversity panel and there's a white guy on this,
That would be diversity.
Right.
Well, there's if you go to a conference, whether it's the Gun Rights Policy Conference or whether it's the NRA annual meeting, there's one thing that you will notice like right away, especially if you're a black person of color. You'll be like, hey, where's all the black people, man? Where are they?
Right.
Right? And you would go to these conferences and there might be a few that you see and you're like, hey man, where are they? And I think the gun rights community as a whole should do more outreach, in terms of the communities, especially that we're visiting, and say, hey, we are a resource. Come in and listen to all the things that are germane to all the people who are at the conference, but all this stuff is relevant to you as well.
Right.
There's a lot of information here about organizing and coming together and teaching and empowering people.
Absolutely.
And man, there's just so much information. And if you haven't heard anything about the GRPC, the Gun Rights Policy Conference, they give you all these books, and so you walk away with all this knowledge.
You
man.
walk away with about 15 pounds worth of books.
And and you have to go through them if you've been to the GRPC, because you don't want to take home, a copy of something you already have.
Something you got from the last year. There's only one book I'm taking with me this year, but I'm taking 3 copies of it.
Yeah, so I mean, as a person who's an avid reader, man, I hate to see books just like not be taken home and read. But
Right.
if I read them, no sense having multiple copies of the same book.
Right.
I'll just reread the same book. I wouldn't say, okay, I've read this copy of this book. Let me read this one. It's the same one.
It's the same book.
It just hasn't had its pages turned.
Totally.
But yeah, I think outreach is important, and I think it's important, especially when we have these conferences. We'll always have them in the major cities or in the outskirts of the city. And,
Yeah, but they're in big cities all the time.
right.
It's
So
not like we're going to Paducah.
right.
You know.
And here we are in
Not that there's
Chicago,
anything wrong with
man, and
Paducah.
we know the issue Chicago has with crime.
Mm.
And I think that it's incumbent upon all people, you know, whoever you are,
Right.
to take on a more active role in your personal protection. And we, in the outreach panel, you know, we talk about ways in which we can empower everybody.
This is what people.
No
are-
road rage incidents, man.
I
We're
know,
on camera.
right?
This could be in a court, man.
Why would he?
This is Chicago, man. People do that.
He was going. Why would he stop and give me a look? I hope this guy's not on my panel.
Right. So the whole thing really, man, is about being here and sharing what's relevant, what can be taken away, lessons learned.
Go ahead.
Bring that back to your community and show how much fun and how much you're going to learn in networking. Oh, man, it's great.
Yeah, it totally is. All right, listen. How can people find you?
Oh, find me everywhere. I'm on the internet. If you know my name, Rick, R-I-C-K, Ector, E-C-T-O-R, you can just Google me. You'll find all my social media platforms.
Mhm.
You'll find my website at DetroitCCW.com. You'll find my blog, Legally Armed in Detroit. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, man.
Nice.
And this video, once you get it
Once
edited,
we'll put it
uploaded
up.
on your twice a month schedule, right? Depending on
Absolutely.
where this actually flows. I don't know if I'm going to be the first out of these episodes you're doing here, but I'll
You
be somewhere.
definitely-
I'll be somewhere in the archives of Riding with
Riding
Charlie,
Shotgun,
and
yeah.
also on my YouTube channel, Detroit CCW is my channel name. Just Google me and find my stuff. I have a lot of great interviews and the debates with me and with the gun.
Oh my God, I
grabbers.
love those dudes. But you're on all the time on the Fox station in Detroit.
I'm on fairly regularly.
It's
and
always a heated debate.
yeah, and it's always me, and it's always like 3 or 4 anti people. And
You
I
know
have
what?
to
I got to
debate
tell
them
you,
all at the
it's
same time.
still not a fair fight because you're kicking their tails.
Oh man, I'm beating them royally.
It's awesome.
And
Didn't
it's great.
You just put up like a greatest hits, or someone else did?
A friend of mine, you
Yeah.
know, back home, a gun rights guy who has some technical video savvy, he put together a greatest hits of Rick on TV debating guns and gun rights.
I
and,
watched that. That was
And
awesome.
it is awesome. And a lot of people have been watching it, man. And this, hopefully it'll go viral. But it's like thousands of views already. So
That's awesome.
we're already talking about putting some more issues up.
The greatest hits too.
Yeah, Greatest Hits Volume 2. And
That's awesome.
and with all the hits that people are views that people are doing on the video, I'm like, man, we got to get another one up.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we got to space it. Let me do some more of my
Some more of his
product
magic.
reviews and some more of my interviews,
Right.
and then we'll put one up a little later. So by all means, keep watching my YouTube channel,
All right.
Detroit CCW, and you'll see all that stuff. And you know what? I'll actually have a copy of Riding with Charlie in my archives too.
We'll get that to you. I'll put all the social media links for all this stuff then so people can get in touch with you and find you and keep folks.
Hey man, it's
getting laid
been
in the
great
truck.
riding with Charlie. This has been like 2 years in the making.
2 years in the
I was thinking he didn't like me. He didn't want me to be on the show.
I was thinking he didn't like me. Literally, we spent about 10 minutes last night busting each other's chops. He's like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Are you gonna go?" He's like, "What time you want to go?" I'm like, "What time are you leaving?" He's like, "What time you meeting?" I'm like, he's like, "I know you like to hang out late. I know you like to stay up. I know you like to
Right.
enjoy yourself." I said 7 o'clock. He's like, "You're gonna get up at 7 o'clock?" I said, "I'll be up for Rick Ector at 7 o'clock."
You know what? And I appreciate that. I feel
I
special.
was I was downstairs at 7.
Okay, well, you said
Okay.
7:30, but
I want to make sure that I'm there and ready to go.
on time. I like that, and you were dressed too. The
I know.
tie. Oh
I gotta
man.
speak. I hope I don't spill coffee on me, but I gotta speak today. So.
Oh yeah, today's your speech.
Today's my day.
What time you going?
By the time you're almost back in Detroit,
Man, look, don't take it as a personal slight.
I'll take it professionally.
Man, we have a 4.5 hour ride back to Detroit, and we need to get on the road.
That's cool. Listen, Rick, thank you so much, man. This has been a
thank
pleasure.
you for having me.
Everybody needs to check out Finally. I know.
Right.
Finally. Together at last.
Right.
All right, so everyone check out Rick Ector, Legally Armed in Detroit, Detroit CCW. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, he's on the YouTube. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd, reminding you that we and the show you're watching are proud members of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Find out more and check out all of the great shows and content at selfdefenseradio.net.